I'm Jennifer Edwards. I'm one of the reporters at the St. Augustine Record. I have never personally been confronted with it, although of course sometimes people get mad. Maybe they don't like what you wrote in the story, and every now and again somebody will throw out that word. But in terms of any kind of serious complaint against a paper, the only time I can remember it happening was at one paper, in 2005 I think. There was a case where libel was brought against the paper, and what had happened was the person who does the blotter, we call it the blotter out there, here it's the jail log, in other words the names of people who have been arrested and charged with a crime. The person who had done that, compiled that list, had put in somebody's name who had not actually been charged with the crime, but the origin of that was from the police records. So a lawsuit was brought against the paper anyway. And from what I understand, it was not successful. I don't believe they settled. It wasn't our fault, more or less, so we were cleared.
What are some measures that you take to avoid publishing something that could be interpreted as libel?
When I write a story, I think, is this true, and is this fair, and is this documented? So if it meets those three criteria, then usually, I don't lose any sleep at night. I just make sure that the facts are documented, that it's presented accurately and fairly, and that also the opposite side is shown as long as the opposite side wants to talk to us. So there isn't really so much a practice against libel as there is just good practices of being a reporter.
Do you have a current take on the laws that structure the reporting of news?
They seem to me to be pretty well thought out because they make a distinction between public and private figure. Public figure, it's much harder to prove libel. You have to prove absolute malice, or basically intentionally writing something that you know is false. With a private citizen, it's more like negligence. They have to prove that you were negligent in it. You should have known that that wasn't the truth, or you just didn't care. So I think they're pretty common sense. And they're written so that I don't think any of us spends much time every day worrying about whether we're going to get in trouble for libel for reporting a story.
Would you say that our area in Johns County is a pretty quiet town when it comes to public controversy in the news?
No. No, you would think so because it's a small town, but sometimes, the Tempest and the Teapot are the biggest ones because they're so contained. There's all kinds of public controversy.